Juan Sebastián Elcano. Juan Sebastián Elcano, sometimes misspelled Del Cano, circa 1476 August 4, 1526, was a Spanish explorer of Basque origin who completed the first circumnavigation of the Earth. After Magellan's death in the Philippines, Elcano took command of the carrack Victoria from the Moluccas to Sanlúcar de Barrameda in Spain. History has recognized Magellan, but less so that the expedition was a project of Spain and that it was completed by Elcano instead of Magellan. In 2019, the 500th anniversary of the voyage, Spain and Magellan's native Portugal have submitted a new joint application to UNESCO to honor the circumnavigation route. Early life. Elcano was born in around 1476 to Domingo Sebastián Elcano and Catalina del Puerto. He had three brothers, Domingo Elcano, a Catholic priest, Martín Pérez Elcano, and Antón Martín Elcano. Military life. Elcano fought in the Italian wars under the command of Gonzalo Fernández de Córdoba in Italy, and in 1509 he joined the Spanish expedition organized by Cardinal Francisco Jiménez de Cisneros against Algiers. Merchant shipping. Elcano settled in Seville and became a merchant ship captain. After breaking Castilian laws by surrendering a ship to Genoan bankers in repayment of a debt, he sought a pardon from the Emperor Charles V, by signing on as a subordinate officer for the Magellan expedition to the East Indies. Voyage of circumnavigation. Elcano served as a naval commander of the Emperor Charles V, and took part in the expedition to the Philippines. In 1519, this 241-man expedition set sail with 5 ships: Trinidad, Concepcion, San Antonio, Santiago, and Victoria. Elcano participated in a fierce mutiny against Magellan before the convoy discovered the passage through South America, the Strait of Magellan. He was spared by Magellan and after 5 months of hard labor and chains was made captain of the galleon. Santiago was later destroyed in a storm. The fleet sailed across the Atlantic Ocean to the eastern coast of Brazil and into Puerto San Julián in Argentina. Several months later they discovered a passage now known as the Strait of Magellan located in the southern tip of South America and sailed through the strait. The crew of San Antonio mutinied and returned to Spain. On November 28, 1520, 3 ships set sail for the Pacific Ocean and about 19 men died before they reached Guam on March 6, 1521. Conflicts with the nearby island of Rota prevented Magellan and Elcano from resupplying their ships with food and water. They eventually gathered enough supplies and continued their journey to the Philippines and remained there for several weeks. Close relationships developed between the Spaniards and the islanders. They took part in converting the Cebuano tribes to Christianity and became involved in tribal warfare between rival Filipino groups in Mactan Island. On April 27, 1521, Magellan was killed and the Spaniards defeated by natives in the Battle of Mactan in the Philippines. The surviving members of the expedition could not decide who should succeed Magellan. The men finally voted on a joint command with the leadership divided between Duarte Barbosa and João Serrao. Within 4 days these two were also dead. They were killed after being betrayed at a feast at the hands of Raja Humabon. The mission was now teetering on disaster and João Lopes de Carvalho took command of the fleet and led it on a meandering journey through the Philippine archipelago. During the 6-month listless journey after Magellan died, and before reaching the Moluccas, Elcano's stature grew as the men became disillusioned with the weak leadership of Carvalho. The 2 ships, Victoria and Trinidad, finally reached their destination, the Moluccas, on 6 November. They rested and resupplied in this haven, and filled their holds with a precious cargo of cloves and nutmeg. On 18 December, the ships were ready to leave. Trinidad sprang a leak, and was unable to be repaired. Carvalho stayed with the ship along with 52 others hoping to return later. Victoria, commanded by Elcano along with 17 other European survivors of the 240-man expedition and 4 survivors out of 13 Timorese Asians, continued its westward voyage to Spain crossing the Indian and Atlantic Oceans. They eventually reached Sanlúcar de Barrameda on September 6, 1522. Antonio Pigafetta, an Italian scholar, was a crew member of the Magellan and Elcano expedition. He wrote several documents about the events of the expedition. According to Pigafetta, the voyage covered 14,460 leagues, about 81,449 kilometers, 50,610 miles. Honors. Emperor Charles V granted Elcano an augmentation of his coat of arms featuring the world globe with the words Primus circumdidist me, Latin, you first encircled me, and an annual pension. His family were given rule over the Marquisate of Buglas and Negros Island, Philippines. In the modern era, the country with the most people surnamed Elcano is currently the Philippines. Loiza expedition. In 1525, Elcano returned to sea, and became a member of the Loiza expedition. He was appointed leader along with Garcia Jofre de Loiza as captains, who commanded 7 ships and sent to claim the East Indies for King Charles I of Spain. Both Elcano and Loiza and many other sailors died of malnutrition in the Pacific Ocean, but the survivors reached their destination and a few of them managed to return to Spain. Family life. Elcano never married, but he had a son by Maria Hernandez Ternalda named Domingo Elcano, whom he legitimized in his last will and testament. Elcano also fathered a daughter with a different woman named Maria de Vida Areta. Fathered a daughter.